Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of my F1 2021 My Team Career Mode, episode number 9 for the round in Italy today. If you didn't see the last one, we have some big changes heading into this one as we pass the halfway point in the season, and we have a new teammate as we didn't have the money to re-sign Matsushita, so we now have Marino Sato alongside us, and his stats are actually pretty decent other than his racecraft. But anyway, as you can see there in the background, the R&D chart as we still sit 4th last there ahead of Alpha, Haas and Williams, who have been the bottom 3 teams over the course of the season. But we are making progress and steadily making our way towards the midfield fight. But on the topic of Marino Sato, we will have an updated livery as of the next round as we go for a spin. That was actually at the end of our first flying lap. I thought I'd go for a second one to see if I could improve on the same set of tyres, but that will not be happening, and we need to box and maybe do another lap on a new set of tyres. But the first time we set isn't good enough, as you can see there, so another lap is required. So here we go then as we come around to finish our flying lap, our second flying lap, and you can see we are improving quite significantly as we come to the finish line, and that will safely get us through into the next session. So a successful run into Q2 here in Italy. That is all we could ask for, and any more than this will be a bonus. So there you go, getting through there safely, and a bit of a surprise up at the top. Daniel Ricciardo tops Q1, so very, very good pace by the Aussie in the McLaren. Obviously he won here in real life, so you never know, maybe he can repeat the feat in the game if he continues that pace, but we'll have to see how that goes. Lando Norris not so fortunate, as he actually did not set a time in Q1, and because of that, Marino Sato has been able to get into Q2 as well. So great effort by our new teammate to get into Q2 on his first appearance in Formula 1, something Matsushita really struggled with. The Hasses, the Williams cars, and Kimi Räikkönen knocked out in Q1. Anyway though, heading into Q2, we're doing our first lap on a scrubbed set of tyres, and we'll try to improve on a brand new set and use that to try and set 2 different lap times, and just get our eye in a bit better around this circuit. So we set our first lap time, it wasn't great, so here we go again for our second flyer, and we'll see what we can do as we are already improving, but immediately losing that time through the first chicane. So it's not a great start to our qualifying lap so far. We go green again as we head through Curva Grande, now heading into the Della Roggia chicane, as the session has now come to an end. So this is our only chance to improve on our initial lap time. So here we go then into the Lesmos. Really, I feel okay through the first Lesmo, but the second Lesmo I've been struggling with so far, and you can see there not maximizing the full width of the track. But it's a green first sector, and we are improving on our initial lap, so that is the best we can do so far. As we now head into the last sector, it's a green middle sector as well, so improvement being found as we run a little bit wide on the exit, and the bad line through there costing us some time as we now go red on the Delta, so no longer improving on our initial lap, which was set on scrub tyres, so it's no good for us in Q2 so far. We are actually sitting in 12th position, so our first lap was actually very good, but unfortunately on our second flyer we're not going to be able to improve. We're going to be down by a few tenths, and we're going to be starting P12 at best, so that's unfortunate that we were not able to improve. Just a few too many mistakes on that lap, especially Ascari where we lost a lot of time. But anyway, we continue through to the results, and you can see Max Verstappen tops Q2, Daniel Ricciardo continuing his form in 2nd position, Sergio Perez 3rd, so the Red Bulls looking strong, Mercedes on the back foot 4th and 5th, so maybe a little bit more pace to come from them. But P12 not bad for us, and as we scroll down, we have to see where our teammate qualified as well. But we out-qualified the Aston Martins, which is very good. I didn't expect to out-qualify them, so I will certainly take that, and hopefully we can stay ahead of them in the race. Sato does his job, out-qualifies Antonio Giovinazzi, so he's out-qualified everyone he should, everyone I'd expect him to, so that's great. So let's get into the race.
It's time for the Italian Grand Prix once again, here at the beloved and iconic Autodromo Nazionale di Monza. With the lowest downforce and drag of any circuit in the season, expect to see drivers making the most of the slipstream effect here today. With top speeds up to 215 miles per hour and an average lap speed of around 155 miles per hour, Monza's reputation as one of the fastest circuits in the sport is well earned. We have 11 corners on this 3.6 mile track, with the best overtaking chance coming into the heavy braking zone of the Turn 1 chicane. It's just about time to go to the track for the beginning of the race, but before we do, Anthony Davidson, what types of strategy do you think we can expect for today's event?
Well, there's a lot that both the driver and the team have to keep in mind when going into a race. The tyres, fuel, energy recovery systems, the list goes on and on. But I think the key to today's victory will come down to the pit stop strategy. Come in too soon and you might find yourself needing more than one stop. Too late and you're putting yourself at a disadvantage by spending longer on worn tyres.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Lewis Hamilton lines up on pole position and Max Verstappen lines up alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Ricciardo, Charles Leclerc and Sainz, Gasly, Fernando Alonso, Ocon and Yuki Tsunoda. The scientist, Stroll, Sebastian Vettel and Sato. Perez, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Giovinazzi, George Russell and Nicholas Latifi. Mick Schumacher, Mazepin, Raikkonen, they've taken a grid penalty, and Lando Norris starts from the back of the grid. And with lights out just moments away, it's time to go down to the track.
Alright, so here we are on the grid then for the Italian Grand Prix. Looks like the strategy will be a one-stop soft tyres to the mediums, so not a lot of strategy to play out in this one, just flat out race for the most part. No weather to interfere, so let's just get straight into it and see what happens in this Italian Grand Prix. We've been raised to 11th position courtesy of a grid penalty for Sergio Perez. We also have to watch out for Norris coming through the field, so plenty to look out for in this one as we get underway for the Italian Grand Prix, and we immediately look to the inside as Tsunoda gets a great start and overtakes the Alpine car there of Esteban Ocon, who looks to the inside as we try and get down the inside, having a little look as Sato goes for a move around the outside. Sato gaining several places off the start. He's overtaken the two Aston Martins. Now he's having a go at Esteban Ocon as well. Unfortunately, Sato not going to be able to get that move done and slots in behind the Alpine car, but great start for Marino Sato. He's up into 11th position already, so it's a good first getaway for him in Formula 1 as we sit in 12th in formation there with our teammate, but unfortunately a bit of a mistake there through the Della Roccia chicane. Now there's a big gap between us, so for now we're just going to have to try to defend from the two Aston Martin cars behind us, who are looking very, very quick as we are struggling to find a rhythm in the early stages of this race. Here comes Lance Stroll as he has a good run here as we head towards Ascari for the first time. Stroll to the outside, we defend the inside and run a little bit deep, and already I'm thinking about the possibility of points in this race, not maybe for myself but for my teammate. If there's an issue for someone in the top 10, he's in 11th, so he can pick up the pieces, and if I can hold these cars back for as long as I can, that would give him a great opportunity to grab some points if there are issues for cars ahead. So already on lap 1 of the race, that is what I'm thinking of, so let's hope things can go well for our teammate. But here's a replay of the start from the off-board cameras to see what happened at the front of the field. Hamilton and Verstappen on the front row, and it looks like it was a good start for Lewis Hamilton, but Verstappen actually challenging him into the first corner, and Verstappen, a great start, a great run into the first corner, takes the lead briefly as they run side by side, and Verstappen in the Honda Tribute livery still is going to take the lead, and he will lead the way through Curva Grande and take off into the distance as Hamilton has to settle for second. Here's the start from our teammates' perspective, and you can see straight away slots between the two Aston Martin cars, grabs those positions, and the world just opens up for him on the outside line as Esteban Ocon moved to the inside, broke fairly early. Sato didn't do anything too crazy, but just found himself in the right place at the right time. Unfortunately, couldn't get the traction down with the narrow exit there, and Ocon maintains the position. But Sato, a great start in his first race in Formula 1, and he is continuing to show positive signs. But at the moment, we are in a world of our own. With the DRS now available, I really want to close up to the back of Sato because the DRS will help me defend from the Aston Martins. So that is my current goal. I'm pushing really hard to try and get back within 1 second of Sato, but we're just missing a bit at the moment. But we're getting closer bit by bit as we go for a bit of a slide on the exit, and it's those mistakes that are just keeping us out of range. As now we're in big trouble because Sergio Perez has gone flying through, and we can't defend from a Red Bull car. We can defend Aston Martins, they're only a little bit faster, but the Red Bulls, they're just in another league. So Sergio Perez goes through, and we have to sit behind the Red Bull driver as we would now get the DRS along the straight. But yeah, that's something I didn't really account for as I was trying to, as I was hoping for Sato to get points, is the likes of Perez and Norris coming through the field. Here comes Lando Norris as well, not far behind Sergio Perez, so Norris is having a great run as well. After starting in dead last, he's been able to get through the field very, very quickly, so that is great signs for McLaren that their car has great speed, potentially even more than Red Bull, who are leading this race at the moment with Max Verstappen. So we'll have to look out for Daniel Ricciardo as well. But further up the road, you can see this is our teammate defending from Perez, who goes around the outside. Great move, Sergio Perez, and our teammate Marino Sato slots in behind, and here comes Lando Norris on the exit. He's going to go for the move around the outside of Sato, and he's going to get it done before the corner, and Lando Norris will take the position as Sato once again just slots in behind, doesn't need to get involved in that fight. But now further on, this is Lando Norris going for the move on Sergio Perez. Lando Norris in the McLaren having a great run here as he goes around the outside and makes the move stick on Sergio Perez. What a move, Lando Norris, and he is rocketing through the field as there was a bit of smoke there from a lockup, but anyway, someone having an issue there. But as we look further ahead, this is Pierre Gasly putting pressure on the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc, but he's lost the back end into the wall. Pierre Gasly, that is a massive crash for the Frenchman, and that is an issue there for Sergio Perez, who's crashed into him as well. So two of the Red Bull sister cars have come to blows there in a very weird way. Here's the onboard with Sergio Perez as he's pulled off to the right as well, but that's a big crash for the two of them. Here's the onboard with us as we just about hit the anchors in time so we don't plow into the back of our teammate who's in front of us there. So yeah, that is a massive crash there for Pierre Gasly and Sergio Perez. It's time to make pit stops, but we have to actually double stack behind our teammates. That's going to cost us a bunch of time, but potentially the double stacking could help our teammate if he's able to jump a few spots. So that's what I'm hoping for at this point, as our race has just gone down the drain with that. But yeah, of course the safety car out, and yeah, the field will be bunched up once again. So here we go on the restart. Unfortunately, I've had to resort to the replay cameras at this point as we had some recording issues once again, but nonetheless we get underway, and we're going to see if we can make some overtakes down into turn 1, and we immediately grab 2 spots into the first corner as we jostle for position, but unfortunately lose out there to Esteban Ocon, as we also losing out to Antonio Giovinazzi and slotting in back where we were. So yeah, losing out immediately there, and now Kimi Raikkonen getting past as well. So we're really struggling here as we get back up the inside of Raikkonen and go very deep to make sure we cover that one off. And that was a little bit of a mistake there, but nonetheless we've held on to it, and we find our way back up and into 16th position. We continue on, and now we need to chase down Antonio Giovinazzi and try and get back on the gearbox of the Italian. That is an issue for Valtteri Bottas, who is now out of the race with a mechanical failure. So that is one of the top running cars out, and we are one step closer to points for Marino Sato in this race. So that's great, but we continue on and make the move on Antonio Giovinazzi into the first corner, but we can't quite get the move done there because Giovinazzi was able to fight back through turn 2. We had the inside line, and we didn't quite have the confidence or competence to go around the outside. So sitting in the slipstream, now we go to the outside once again into the Della Roggia chicane, round the outside of Giovinazzi, who hops over the curb, contact, and Giovinazzi into the wall, and that is the Italian heavy collision there, as he just hopped over the curb, sent him wide into the side of us, and sent him ploughing into the wall, as now the wall is sparking away there. Giovinazzi able to get going again, so he's not out of the race, but you can just see he just hopped over the curb, and when the front wheels aren't in contact with the ground, they're not very good for turning, and that is what happened there, and that sent him straight into the wall, and that was another safety car. But anyway, we are currently in 12th position behind Esteban Ocon. We get a good restart actually versus Ocon, and we're going to see if we can make a move down the inside into the first corner. Ocon though is trying to pass Sato. Sato now down the inside, and he's making moves into turn 1, and he's actually made a great restart there and gained a couple of places to where, as we are up into 11th. So that's a great stuff for Sato, as he's up into probably 9th position. Ocon re-overtakes us though, and we get put back down into 12th position. Let's see if we can come back at him though, as we run into the Della Roggia chicane side by side, and we actually do get back ahead of Esteban Ocon, so that was a good move there, and we were able to get through on the Frenchman. So let's see if we can hold at this position. Ocon will try and come back at us though, as we head towards the first corner, and Ocon having a little look left and right, now goes to the inside, and will he have the confidence to brake late enough to make the move? No, we are able to hold him off for the time being and stay ahead of Esteban Ocon. Switchback though, but Ocon has to slot in once again, and he also has to watch out for the cars behind. Mick Schumacher might get involved, who is actually running in a lofty position here, so Schumacher running well, which is worth noting. But as we continue on, we still continue to defend from Esteban Ocon, and we are able to hold him off once again as he now looks up the inside of the Lesmos. This is an unusual place to go for a move, and we're able to hold it around the outside for now, but Ocon still trying to make this move stick, as we still run side by side through the Lesmos. We're costing each other so much time. Look at the train behind, but we're able to hold off Ocon once again, and now he's under siege from the train behind, so he's going to have to watch out for all of them, but we'll see if he can hold on. Doesn't look like it, as he is struggling there through Ascari, and now we go on board with Mick Schumacher. He's just lost that spot to Ocon again, and Ocon squeezing him all the way to the inside into the pit exit, almost into the wall. So Esteban Ocon getting very aggressive, but is still not able to make a move on us as we head into the first corner once again. Esteban Ocon very feisty there, and we continue to go on board with the Frenchman, as he is really trying his best to get past, but we're able to defend every single time, and there he could have had an opportunity but just couldn't get a good exit, and now he is trying along the main straight once again. I think he's got it this time, as we were a little bit too far back. We're going to try and fight back down the inside into the first corner, and we still hold on from Esteban Ocon, who must be furious at the moment at both me and himself for not being able to get past. Now he goes to the inside of Ascari, and surely this will be the time, but we're late on the brakes, and we still just about get it turned across, and we're able to make the corner ahead of him, as we have a bit of a moment on the exit there. There's no room for Ocon to get past, and that is another missed opportunity for him, so he must be hitting his steering wheel in rage at the moment, as he is losing so much time in this race, and now he's got a car on the inside, so he's got more work to do in this one as we head along the main straight. Once again, Esteban Ocon with the DRS. Will he be able to make the move this time, as we head down towards the first corner to the outside? He's got a lot of straight line speed. Maybe this will be the time. Look to the right, we're still there, and we're able to just about inch ahead and stay in front of Esteban Ocon, who has a bit of a moment on the exit. So another lap and another attempt for Esteban Ocon as we head down towards. That's a crash! Esteban Ocon, a massive incident along the straight, and Esteban Ocon is out of the race. and that will be very, very lucky if no one else was caught up in that, as we were fighting there with one of the Aston Martins, I think, but Esteban Ocon, huge moment there, and we were very lucky ourselves not to get caught up in that. Here's the onboard with Nicholas Latifi, who was first on the scene, and look at Esteban Ocon, just lost the back end, and Latifi was so lucky, and yeah, he was able to avoid any issues there. But that brought out another safety car, and we're going to go for a pit stop, put some soft tyres on to the end of the race, and see what we can come away with. So here we go on the restart, a great restart for us, and we're immediately gaining a couple of places as we head towards the first corner. Unfortunately, I don't know what position we're in at this point, so yeah, it's a bit hard to follow at the moment, but we will soon go back to regular gameplay, not the replay footage, and we'll be able to better see the context of the race. But at the moment we're on lap 34, and we were able to gain a few places on the restart, so that's great news for us, and we have put ourselves in a good position with good tyres. We saw the importance of good tyres recently in Formula 1, didn't we? Now anyway, we we look ahead to the fight between the AlphaTauri there of Yuki Tsunoda, who is making his way through the field, passing one of the Williams cars there of Nicholas Latifi. It's got George Russell up next, so Tsunoda fighting his way through the field ahead of us, and now we will be looking to make the move on Russell as well as we head down into the first corner. In the background there you can see us getting that move done, and there we are, getting ahead of Nicholas Latifi there, rather. I believe I said Russell a moment ago, but ahead of Latifi now. Our next target is either Tsunoda or Russell, depends who we catch up to next, if Tsunoda can make that move in the near future. But yeah, we are in reasonable stead here, actually, better than I thought. To be honest, sitting in 11th position, Marino Sato has actually dropped back, so I'm not exactly sure what happened there, how all of that played out, but you can see ahead of us, this is now Yuki Tsunoda going for the move on George Russell around the outside into the first corner. Is he going to be able to get the move done? Late on the brakes, they're both equally late. There's a lock-up for one of the cars ahead, but it looks like Tsunoda and Russell are going to keep fighting, and Russell, I think, held on to that one as we go back to us. We're chasing now Yuki Tsunoda, who is still putting the pressure on Russell. We're all closing up as we head towards the Del Roger chicane. We go down the inside with the late move. Russell holds off Tsunoda, but we get both of them into the Del Roger chicane, and that was a great move on the two of them, and we're up another 2 places, and now I think surely we're in the points with these grippy soft tyres really helping us out, and now we are in a good position to improve further. But now up the road, this is Daniel Ricciardo. I spoke about the pace of the McLarens. He's going for the lead now around the outside of Lewis Hamilton, and he will surely take it here on the exit, but unfortunately for Ricciardo, Hamilton, good drive on the outside line, and Ricciardo not quite able to take it there. We look back at us once again, and we are going to make the move there on one of the Alfa Romeos, and we get through just about. A little bit awkward there on the apex, but we got through, and that's the most important thing. But further up the road, that is an issue there for Carlos Sainz in the Ferrari, and that's another top contender out of the running, so more points for us. This is looking very, very good as we continue through on lap number 37. There's the issue there for Sainz, and we get one of the Alpine cars there who was caught up behind Sainz, and I believe that is Fernando Alonso there. And yeah, he just got caught up behind his fellow Spanish driver, and that has not played into his hands at all. But meanwhile, up ahead, Daniel Ricciardo again going for the move, and this time he gets it covered, blocks the inside, and takes the lead of the Italian Grand Prix. Daniel Ricciardo now leading in Italy. Great stuff for him and McLaren. A win for them would be huge in well, both the drivers and constructors championships. But as we continue on, we're putting pressure on Lando Norris as we have a look to the outside, and we're going to make the move into Ascari. So didn't expect to be overtaking a McLaren, one going forwards, one going backwards at this point in the race, but it's not going to be easy going for Ricciardo, because Lewis Hamilton in the slipstream and DRS is coming back at him. Ricciardo defends to the inside, Hamilton to the outside, side by side into the first corner. Hamilton marginally ahead as they head to the apex. Ricciardo fights back side by side through turn 2, and Ricciardo gets the drive on the exit with the more flowing run on the outside and holds off Lewis Hamilton for the time being, but this is far from over. But Ricciardo with the lead at the moment. Meanwhile, Norris trying to come back at us, looking left, looking right, now back to the left as he tries to make the move around the outside, and we're going to try our best to hold this position as contact is made there, as Norris was a little bit too quick into turn 2. We pinched him on the inside a bit, and some contact was made, and that's given an opportunity to Fernando Alonso to grab that position off Lando, as I think Norris now has some damage. So unfortunate for Norris, but that's good news for us. But anyway, further up the road, once again Ricciardo defends, Hamilton to the outside, and once again they're going to be side by side into the first corner. Ricciardo trying to his best to hold this position ahead of Hamilton, again gets the drive on the exit and maintains the lead ahead of Hamilton, but there's still a long way to go in this one. So here we go once again, Hamilton to the outside of Ricciardo and gets through. He's actually a fair way ahead, but Ricciardo laid on the brakes as they head to the apex. But you can see how this fight plays out every time, and that's actually Max Verstappen getting involved now. So if Verstappen can get himself involved in this fight, that will really help Ricciardo if Verstappen can be a distraction for Hamilton. But now Hamilton down the inside into the Del Roger chicane. He's kept the nose in, and this time surely Hamilton will retake the lead. Ricciardo has to slot in behind, and Hamilton has now retaken the lead of the Italian Grand Prix. Verstappen was always having a look there into the Lesmos, but no move to be made there. But the top 4 all very close, as Sebastian Vettel is in for a front wing change. So Vettel obviously had a bit of a collision at some point, and that was with Marino Sato, who was running a great race today. And Sato unfortunately has made contact with Sebastian Vettel. Unfortunately, I don't know where that happened, as we go for a hop over the curbs there as we're pushing on our own, and that's allowed Alonso through. So that's unfortunate for us, but yeah, really unfortunate for Sato and Vettel coming together at some point in this race, and they both are in for a front wing change. So disaster for both of them, and yeah, really disappointing and to good drive for Sato. But Ricciardo was almost having a look at Hamilton into the last corner, didn't go for the move. Now he goes for the move as we head towards the first corner. He goes to the inside, Hamilton chooses not to defend, and Ricciardo will get through here into the lead of the Italian Grand Prix, and Hamilton will need to be watching out, because there's Verstappen trying to take advantage of that, and Verstappen is almost there, but eventually has to slot in behind Hamilton. But that little distraction might be enough for Ricciardo to break DRS and get away from Lewis Hamilton, as we now fight Fernando Alonso. We look to the outside of the first corner, and we're going to have to be last of the late breakers here if we want to outbrake Fernando Alonso, and we are, and we're able to get through against the Spaniard in the Alpine car, and we take the position once again. Incidentally, we are running in 5th position in this race. I said we're in a good place. I actually didn't quite realize we were that high up the field, so we have a lot to fight for here. Big points for our team relative to where our car performance is, but what's working against us is we're on soft tyres, everyone else is on the mediums. So while we're able to fight off Lando Norris and Fernando Alonso for a while, the cars around us are going to be increasingly getting faster. That was a nice move though, up the inside of Alonso into turn 2. That was a defensive late break there, so we could try to stay ahead of Yuki Tsunoda, but that really helped us get alongside Fernando Alonso. We just carried the speed through turn 1, snuck up the inside of turn 2. Alonso couldn't do anything about it, and we're back up into P5, so I thought that position was lost, but not the case, as now Verstappen and Hamilton are still fighting for second position. Verstappen trying to get the traction down on the inside, doesn't work for him. Hamilton maintains P2 for now, but Verstappen looking very racy behind Hamilton, Can he make a move into the Della Roggia chicane? Perhaps Verstappen looking close, very close behind Hamilton, but just not close enough to make a move, and Verstappen has to settle for third position for a little bit longer, but he is looking strong in this one as Fernando Alonso re-overtakes us once again. Is he too far ahead this time as we're under attack from Tsunoda? We charge down the inside of Fernando Alonso, get it stopped, and somehow make the corner and stay ahead of Alonso once again. So really aggressive defense from us. Look how late we broke into the first corner there. Alonso maybe was being cautious, I'm not sure, but whatever the case is, we were able to brake a lot later than Fernando Alonso. But anyway, we continue to look at this fight for second position. Ricciardo is well and truly taken off into the distance now, and Verstappen is almost clear of Lewis Hamilton as they run side by side into the first corner once again. So this is turning into a really great scrap between the two of them, and Verstappen now, maybe he'll be able to keep it around the outside of Curva Grande. We'll see as they run side by side. Surely this is the opportunity for Verstappen. He's able to keep the car present on the outside, and now down the inside of the Della Roggia chicane, he might be able to get the move done as they run side by side. Hamilton is able to hold on once again, and Verstappen still has to slot in to third position. So it's really turning into a great scrap between the two of them on the main straight. Once again, is this the opportunity? Finally gets blocked there by Hamilton. He surely had to lift at that point, and now he's on the wrong side once again, round the outside of turn 1 to the inside of turn 2. Will Hamilton be able to get the traction like he has done on the outside line? And then he does. Verstappen slots in once again, and Hamilton maintains P2 for a little bit longer, but it looks like he's struggling. Continuing on as we return to some audio issues, unfortunately. Just Xbox doing its usual thing. Happens every episode it seems now. But Verstappen round the outside into turn 1. Once again, Hamilton on the inside. He'll have the outside run for turn 2, and that gives him the best traction on the exit, and once again holds the position ahead of Max Verstappen. And yeah, Verstappen just needs to try something different. Outside of turn 1 just isn't working. Meanwhile, back on board with us, and we're defending from Yuki Tsunoda through Parabolica, and we are able to successfully do that. But Tsunoda is the danger man now, looking very, very quick at this stage of the race. Home race for AlphaTauri, so they'll be hoping with Pierre Gasly out of the race that Tsunoda can finish in a good position as he looks down the inside into the first corner. We're able to hold the position though and maintain ourselves ahead of Tsunoda. Still in P5 in this race with only a few laps to go, so great run so far. But here through the Ascari chicane, Verstappen looking close to Lewis Hamilton. Will he be able to do anything on the run to Parabolica with the slipstream? He may actually have a run, because now he goes to the outside of Parabolica, and he might be able to continue to carry the speed a little bit better as he gets the nose ahead. Hamilton has to give him some space, and Verstappen around the outside of Parabolica, wheel to wheel with Lewis Hamilton. Now they're going to be side by side along the straight. This is as close as Verstappen's been, who have the advantage of the slipstream as they head down towards the first corner. Hamilton defending hard there as they run down. Hamilton almost on the white line, but Verstappen still not able to get through, as Hamilton was actually the one with DRS, so Verstappen got the nose ahead at the wrong time there, and unfortunately that's put an end to his hopes on that occasion. But now we're really struggling on these soft tyres. They're really falling away versus the medium tyre runners, even though they're newer tyres. They're much more worn, and now Tsunoda is through, and we're trying our best to hold off Esteban Ocon, Fernando Alonso once again. And yeah, we are certainly losing tyre grip at the moment. We're down into 6th position. Alonso gets past us as we are fighting for 6th and 7th. We're side by side with Alonso through the final corner. Let's see if we can hold this one around the outside. We're trying to pinch him to the inside, trying to give him some form of narrow line, but it doesn't really make a difference, and Alonso is through as we open the DRS, and Alonso closing up to Tsunoda. We're closing up to Alonso, and we're going to just sit behind. I thought about going for some kind of crazy move, but there wasn't really any opportunity to do that. But now Tsunoda and Alonso are going to run side by side through Curva Grande once again, and Alonso actually looks like he's got a very powerful engine in the back of that Alpine car. Renault obviously doing some work on that as we go down the inside of both of them and grab 2 positions for the second time in this race into the Della Roggia chicane, and we're able to grab both Tsunoda and Alonso. With the 2 of them fighting and worrying about each other, we charge down into the apex of the Della Roggia chicane and come out on top ahead of the 2 of them. Here's the onboard with Fernando Alonso as we look back towards us, and you can see the extra speed we carried there, and again somehow we were able to get it stopped and make the corner. So that was great, a great bit of overtaking for us as the fights continue through the field. Now Verstappen's got the inside as he heads to the first corner. He's already got the position, and Verstappen finally takes second place in this race. It took him a lot longer than he would have wanted, but it doesn't matter. He's got there now with a few laps to spare. Verstappen up into P2 finally, and he'll be very, very glad he was finally able to make that move. Meanwhile, Tsunoda re-overtakes us as we sit in the slipstream once again of the Japanese driver as we head towards the first corner in the slipstream. In the DRS of Tsunoda, we'll make the move to the outside and see if we can get this done along the main straight. Later on the brakes than Yuki Tsunoda, and we get through against the Japanese driver. A bit deep into turn 2 though, and Tsunoda though not able to get a switch back as we almost run ourselves off the road. Continuing on then, and it's Fernando Alonso trying to pass us on the outside into Parabolica this time, and he gets through as we sit behind, and we will try and take the slipstream and DRS down towards the first corner. So here we go, already gaining speed in the slipstream, and the DRS now open as we head to the outside line. Alonso has no way to defend from that, and we are able to re-overtake Alonso. So when we have the DRS, we're able to fight back, but I think on raw pace we're really starting to lose out now on these soft compound tyres as they are falling away from us. But the fighting continues down into the Della Roggia chicane, and we're able to hold off Alonso once again, but we run wide, and Alonso is going to have an opportunity here as he goes to the inside and gets through, as we had no pace on the exit there. But we're able to follow quite closely through the first Lesmo, and through the second Lesmo we send it in, try and carry the speed. It works for us, and we're able to stick right under the gearbox of Fernando Alonso. And now we're able to make the move to the inside very early as we head under the old banking side by side with Fernando Alonso, and we get back through up into P5 once again ahead of the Spaniard with I think that's Lance Stroll now in pursuit. So Lance Stroll coming forward in this race. Tsunoda I think dropping back. It's Stroll now to the outside of Alonso as we got a bad exit out of Ascari. Alonso down the inside, we box in Lance Stroll, and now Alonso through on the inside as he takes 5th position. We have to watch out for the Aston Martins behind as we got a bad exit as well out of Parabolica, but we will have I think the advantage of DRS as we have a look at Lance Stroll now going through on Fernando Alonso. Stroll now takes 5th position for himself as we have a look back to the outside, to the inside of turn 2, and now we will get the traction down on the exit and take 5th, and Stroll settles for 6th position ahead of Fernando Alonso, Yuki Tsunoda. But it's all to play for now on the final lap of the race, and we're now in the slipstream train once again heading towards the Della Roggia chicane. It's just a block of Formula 1 cars heading down into a heavy braking zone. We managed to hold them off as Stroll holds 6th position from Fernando Alonso, but it could go anyway at this point. One thing that is settled though is the race win. Daniel Ricciardo comes across the line to win the Italian Grand Prix. Great drive from the Australian in the McLaren. Max Verstappen will just hold off Lewis Hamilton for 2nd position, and that is crucial for the championship. Meanwhile, we're defending from Lance Stroll once again into Ascari, and that's a massive crash for Lando Norris and one of the Williams cars. I think that's Nicholas Latifi. We'll have to debrief that one afterwards, but now Lance Stroll on board with him as we head down towards Parabolica for the final time. Lance Stroll to the inside, and he's going to try and sneak through Fernando Alonso to the outside. Tsunoda getting involved as well as we charge towards the final corner for the final time. We're latest on the brakes, and now Stroll, they're 3 wide behind. Who's going to come out on top? Stroll holds 6th as we will just about hold 5th and come across the line and take 10 points for the Italian Grand Prix.
That's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Ferme.
And they will be the hardest fought 10 points I think I will ever take. What on earth happened at the end of that race? That was chaos.
There it is then, victory in the Italian Grand Prix, an historic race and an achievement they can be immensely proud of. Talk to me, Ants. What was it that set them apart from the competition today?
But staying out of trouble was probably the most important factor here. In the race where half the field weren't classified at the checkered flag, you were able to guarantee a good result by basically keeping the car running. With their pace and a decent strategy as well, I don't think the race was ever really in doubt.
Our winning drivers are on their way to the podium right now. It's been a fantastic race for McLaren, that's for sure, and no doubt they'll be celebrating tonight.
What a result for Daniel Ricciardo winning the Italian Grand Prix. Max Verstappen will be very happy with that second position, just holding off his championship rival Lewis Hamilton, who finishes third.
See how the driver standings have changed. Max Verstappen should be pleased with his performance, making gains at the top of the table. Now, let's discuss, Ants. Who would you say is a contender for driver of the day?
I have to give it to the scientists. They fought so hard and had incredible pace at times, so I don't think anyone else did a better job today.
It's time to check out the Constructors Standings. The lead at the top comes down after a strong weekend from the challenging pack. It was also a strong Grand Prix from Haas F1 this weekend. Fantastic work from the American team to move themselves further up the table. I'm equal parts exhausted and elated with this weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for the next one.
Alright, so on board with Lando Norris looking at that last lap incident, and he just lost the back end, couldn't decide whether to go left or right, turned too aggressively on the wheel, and I think Latifi was just caught up in someone else's accident there, as, yep. He had nowhere to go there, and unfortunately for Latifi, his race comes to an abrupt end on the final lap. So yeah, that settles that one. But what a weird race that was. Daniel Ricciardo taking the victory on pure pace, more or less. You can see there in the midfield, Sato, his great start, falling away at the end though with the damage and the extra pit stop. But yeah, we were able to, I guess, make up for that with our own points. Would have been great to see Sato score points on debut, but obviously you can't have everything. But still, solid pace from Marino. Sato held a good position for a long time in this race before that bit of damage, maybe that low racecraft rating not playing into his hands on that occasion, and had that coming together with Sebastian Vettel. We'll have to see what happens in future with his racecraft, something we have to work on with him and the team. But anyway, still very, very happy with what he was able to do. Being able to get into Q2 as well for Sato was great to see, because that's not something our teammates have been able to do all season long. So that is something new, and with further improvements to the car coming over the next few rounds, hopefully that is something we can both strive to achieve on a more regular basis. But nonetheless, very, very happy with this weekend. Taking 5th is a lot more than I expected coming into this one. We had to defend very, very hard at the end there on our soft tyres, which were just not working anymore. We had great pace at the beginning of that stint. You could see the overtakes we were making. We passed the McLaren, for goodness sake. But yeah, it wasn't to be in the end. We couldn't keep up that pace, but thankfully we were able to hold on to our position. And yeah, that was very, very good for us. And the tyres, to be honest, they held on better than I expected, those soft tyres. I thought they would be absolutely horrible and we'd be plummeting through the field. But honestly, the fighting between the other drivers was what saved us, really, because that held them up, and we were able to keep pace while they were all fighting. In particular, Alonso and Tsunoda were fighting very, very hard, and that kept us in the game. But yeah, P5, Italian Grand Prix, very, very happy.
Great work out there today. Let's have your thoughts. Who would you say is your biggest rival at the moment?
So we lost our previous rivalry with Pierre Gasly, went a bit aggressive there, but for this one we're going to go with Esteban Ocon. We fought him hard.
You were cutting your way through the field during the race.
Yeah, we were able to make a lot of overtakes on the restarts.
It's safe to say you're smashing everyone's expectations, isn't it?
Yeah, this race was certainly a lot more than we expected, but we maximised all the opportunities we had.
Do you have any comments about this team?
Comments about Alpine? Yeah, they were very, very quick today, and we spent a lot of time fighting their cars, so yeah, we need to watch out for them.
Appreciate your time.
Alright, thank you, Claire. So that brings the Italian Grand Prix weekend to a close. We sit at Team Acclaim 11, not a lot really changing there. We level up our driver acclaim to level 8, so that will increase our acclaim rate for the team as well. But yeah, we fail our objective to beat our rival in qualifying. I don't know if we even had a rival, given the last question we were just asked. So yeah, $1.8 million in the bank after that race. Anyway, back at HQ, and we're needed.
Finally, some good news. It's entirely up to you how we handle this.
So we've had a breakthrough in R&D development, leaving us with an excess of resource points. We can devote them to the power unit department, and that will give us 50% discount on the magnetic compound upgrade, which I assume the price there, 385 resource points, is the discounted price, which means we're saving 385, I guess. But if we decline, we get 1,000 resource points. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I know what option I'm taking there.
I know these kinds of decisions can be challenging, but I think you made the right call.
So to the activity timeline, we're going to go for race simulations, we're going to go for simulator training, driver promotion filming, and the chassis equipment upgrade. We also have some excess money on our hands now, so we're going to go for a facility upgrade, upgrading the quality control in the aerodynamics department. So now we fast forward through time and we complete the driver promotion filming as well as the streamlined suspension arms upgrade.
Completed without issue. They'll be on the car ready for the next race weekend.
That frees up an R&D slot in the aero department, which we're going to use to spend some of our resource points. We've got almost 3,000. We are going to upgrade the barge boards, and that upgrade will come in for the Japanese Grand Prix. Continuing through the timeline, we get the heat dispersing wheel rims upgrade. That frees up a slot in the chassis department, so we can work on another tyre wear upgrade to the tyre blankets, a minor upgrade that will be in for the Japanese Grand Prix. So back to the activity timeline then, we get the chassis equipment upgrade activity done along with the MGOK improved materials upgrade, the durability upgrade, as well as the quality control upgrade to the aero department as well. We can now invest more in the durability department, and we are going to go for control electronics durability, given that that is the component that failed back in Austria. We're still probably going to need to take a penalty for a third control electronics, just given how quickly that component wore out in the first instance, and now we only have one to last the rest of the season, so I think we'll need to invest in a third control electronics at some point and take the penalty for that.
The department has some good news to share. They've just finished working on a facility upgrade. The details are available in your inbox. We've got an issue we'd like your input on.
Okay, so another department event. The team think we could benefit if we spend some money on the touring facilities to give them a bit of a makeover, improve the looks, and that will improve our team acclaim by 1,000 by just spending $50,000. That is well worth it, so let's do that.
Thanks for stepping in and helping handle that. We had a major issue on the production line earlier this week, so the entire development package for the weekend has failed. Any redevelopments will need to be ordered from the R&D screen.
So unfortunately our cable assembly upgrade on the chassis department has failed, so we'll need to repurchase that one, and we will go ahead and do that. So the only thing left in the timeline is the race simulations program, and with that out the way, we're going to invest in a couple of driver perks. We're going to go for the power mapping perk along with media coaching. But other than that, then there's not a lot left to cover for this one, so now I am going to go off and update the livery, and we'll use the updated version for the rest of the season. I felt like now with a new teammate, it's a good time to do that, just change things up just a little bit. So yeah, I'll go ahead and do that and show off the new livery in the next episode. But other than that, then thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Feel free to give me some feedback in the comments. I would really appreciate that, and I will see you later.